Hi, my name is Julius Sanchez. I'm a 3D artist, animator, engineering. I code, I run simulations, and all kinds of other stuff. This tutorial is about this software called FaceRig Studio, which I think just came out. I'm not sure. So I was reading through it's $300 or something, and I just thought it was a little high, but I wanted to try it and stuff because I'm trying to build some sort of 3D video case of Avatar. I was able to do one myself using raw software like Maya and this tool from Mixamo called FaceShift, and also building it in Unity. But it seemed kind of too convoluted for anybody to actually set it up. So I decided to look around. I found this thing called FaceRig Studio. There's not much documentation on this software, so I decided why not make one like a tutorial or something. Because there's a lot of bugs where, well, I'll show you. Let's talk about this thing. First off, I want to show you the tutorial, the documentation. You could find it in Steam. Well, I had to put it in Steam on the D drive. I'll explain that to you later. Anyway, so we got here. I'll show you where you could actually find it too. If you use the default installation from Steam, it's I think it's program files X something. So you want to look for it here. It's under Steam Apps, Common, FaceRig, Studio, Personal, Bin, Tool, Docs, and you want to take a look at this doc right here. And it's really confusing. It's I hate to admit it, it's confusing, but I was able to get through it. Talks about naming structure and all this other stuff. The thing that I found important on this piece of document is not all this, but if you're going to do some animating, some face recognition, it's because it's not really true face recognition. What it's doing is it's taking predefined uh, animation or facial expressions, and it brings it up based on the name inside the software. So these naming structure are actually more important than you think. So when you're going to do animation, you want to make this match to whatever it is that they want. Okay, because that's what the codes are going to look for. Also, the boning structure. So you want to go all the way to the bottom. You got to match your skeleton hierarchy. Same way. You may not. You don't need the hierarchy if you're a rigger. You can. I mean, an amateur in 3D um, applications. You're gonna have to figure this out yourself. But basically, you have to follow these naming structure of your joints. All right. So you don't necessarily need all these, but you're gonna need to name them exactly how they look. Again, the software is gonna pick it up. This camera thing was really threw me off. I was a little confused why it's there, so I assumed that I'd have to make some kind of node or a joint bone and something, and join it inside the hierarchy. But I'll come back to that later. Okay, so the first thing you're going to encounter probably is that you're not able to import the textures and also the orientation of the model. So let's start from scratch. I did this in I could have done it in ZBrush or Maya itself, but I did it in Fuse. I thought it'd be a lot faster. So I built the Hulk. So this actually works good. All right, and it's got teeth and everything in there, so which is kind of cool. You don't necessarily have to build teeth for this anymore. The software actually puts it in, so we could look at its teeth. So that's kind of cool. That's what I like about Fuse. I don't want to build teeth. All teeth looks the same. So if you get an app to do it for you, great. Okay, so let's get back to business. So this is how it turned out when I put it into Maya. So what's going to happen is it tells you in the document you need to use TGAs. That's not true. I use PNGs. I tried different GIFs and it actually works. What matters is actually the path. Remember I was telling you about I put it in my the backup as a D drive because technically I had it in program files, programs file x86. This is the problem. It doesn't recognize this folder and you can't change this folder, but in the documentation it tells you to change it. That's not possible. So anyway, I went through the runaround and when I actually had Steam, I didn't know this because I hardly ever use Steam. I'm not a gamer. I look for apps. You could actually point it to another directory. I'm not going to show you how to do that. You'll probably have to figure it out yourself. So what I ended up doing, if you're having some texture problems, go ahead and just have the software, put it on another partition on your hard drive. It's kind of weird because I tried to just install it in C drive into root, but it didn't work. So I had to go and actually put it inside a D drive, another drive. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, let's get to getting this thing ready. The first thing you want to do is you're gonna go through skinning this thing. If you're not familiar with 3D software, skinning is one of the biggest things about animation. You need to skin these bones. So what you do is you have to click here and then go for the hierarchy. First you click this and then choose the thing you want to skin, and then you go to the application and you go to skinning and you go to skin weight or bind. You can't see the screen because well, I have to bring it down a little bit. Anyway, so right here you go to skin and you bind it together, the skin and the bone. So what happens is you could go in there and you could start skinning this thing. When I mean skinning, you got to actually physically paint this thing, which is not a fun thing to do. But you're going to have to do it if you want to really get into this 3D animation stuff. So come over here, you see the white parts that's been skinned. Most of this the software did, but you're going to have to clean it up because you're going to get some anomalies where the skinning just goes all haywire. So you want it to be as smooth as possible, so that way you'll get a nice smooth bend in your character. And you're going to have to do it for every part. Remember I told you about the bone structure? That's so true still. So let's go back into that folder that I talked about with the naming of the bone. This video is going to be a little bit longer than I thought, but if you could hang watching this, that's cool. If you can't, sorry, but I'm trying to explain as much as I can so that way you won't have to go through the stuff that I went through. So I told you about the boning structure. There you go. That's it right there. So if you look at it, it says BIP root. I didn't have to put that, but you start with the spine. BIP spine, BIP 1, and all this, right? So if you look at my structure, you can see it right there. So you see all that stuff. And I remember I told you about the camera in the documentation. It tells you to put the camera. It's not true. If you're having orientation, if you've gotten to the point where you're able to get your model into the software, but it's lying down and it's not oriented right, just go ahead and create a camera. You don't have to throw it in here or something. You don't need to do that, but it seems like you're supposed to based on the document, but you don't have to do that. Just take it out. Just leave it out in the root of your hierarchy. You don't have to put it in. So once you do that, you'll see it. Where is it? So my sorry. Come on. My whoops. Camera is actually just sitting in front of. See if I could find it. Did I? It's just there. It is. So I don't know why it's up there like that. It's been acting weird. Anyway, wherever you put it, that's how it's gonna look. Just look through. Oh, I know why, because I was moving around. So you want to go ahead and orient this thing and put it where you want it to go. All right. So now that we got that, so let me open up another version of this thing. So this is what you have to do. First, you got to make an idle. So that's what I did. This is an idle animation. So once you do that, you go ahead and save this thing out, export it, and you have to export it as an open collada file. Okay, it's a day, but that's what they want. This is what I want to show you. When you export this, take a screenshot of this. I don't care, but the settings have to be like this. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and pause, take a screenshot of this so you can see what this is. You have to put it into a local directory. Network drive is not gonna work. So you got to put a whole bunch of these things. Okay, so that's what you got. You have to make different ones. Now you're gonna ask me, how the heck did he make all these different ones? Well, let's go back and look at my rig and make it easy for yourself. You make a manipulator. So I made all these settings right here. You'll see smile, um, an A sound, a E. So each of this corresponds to the the skinning that I did. If you remember back a little bit, I talk about skinning. So it would be crazy to grab these little joints and move them manually until you make a smile and stuff. It's crazy. And you'll have to do that eventually, but you don't want to have to keep doing that all the time. So what you end up doing is you make a rig with all these drivers. They're called drivers. So I made a frown. So now when I do the slide, when I do manipulate the slide, it frowns. So that's the way. That's the pimpin' way of making expressions. You don't want to go in there and do it little by little. So I get this. CDGK makes that sign. CDKGK. You're like grimacing almost. So F does like sound where your lips is underneath. So when you do that, there you go. So and you do like regular standard um, expressions like mouth open. Wow. Yeah. I even put like I think I made a tongue out. Yep. So you could put his tongue out. So this is what you need to do. You could do the same thing with your hands because in order to do the hand motion, if you look at the animation again, let's bring that back up. You can see his hands moving a little bit. Well, that's all because I did set driven. Another thing is your animation has to be uh, 30 frames per second. So this right here is 30 frames right there from beginning to end. So this is all you need for animation. So all these little animation files that you're gonna make are gonna be 30 seconds long. So let's go look at the folder. So this is what you're gonna end up getting. So they tell you that you need to name it a certain way. That's not actually true. You could just name it as long as you keep this pattern, Hulk, and then whatever it is, and then the type of shader it is a bump and a diffuser, a specular. So now let's get to the tool. They put in a tool. It's called, let's go back to the tool section. Nah, this video is becoming 13 minutes long now. Sorry about that. So we go to Steam, right here, common files. If you go to the bin, you go to tools, you're gonna need this tool. So you could read about it over here. So it tells you how to use it, but it's a little convoluted and kind of misleading. So before you do anything, if you've tried this already and your machine is just not doing what it's supposed to, you've made some tests and stuff, what you're gonna have to do, you're gonna what I'm talking about is if you've successfully imported a character inside FaceRig, you're gonna and you keep importing it and you don't see anything changing. What you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to go here to back into the application, to the mod and VP, and you're gonna have to go to this data cache. If I think this is DX11, this one is well, there's no more DX9. Anyway, so you want to go to the data cache and you want to remove this right here. So you just delete that. That's the cache information, which that all that means is it's grabbing information so that way the software will run a lot faster. Another one you want to remove, and this is only if you keep putting in the same character because you want to keep testing it. If you don't do this, you're thinking none of your test is working because it keeps showing up the same information. So I'm gonna leave that there, but because I don't want to have to redo anything. But this is what you need. This is the model importer. I just made a shortcut. But if you go to this folder, the bin tools right here, I don't know if it's gonna make a shortcut. I didn't bother doing that. I just went and grabbed it and popped it over here. That's why it's got that funky ass icon. But this is it right here. So just launch that thing. Go to the model importer. Also, forgot to tell you this. When you export your character, this is not the default. You're gonna have to do a default. So let's go to my default. So let me save this. The default normally is the T pose. Ah, shoot. Where's my T pose? Let's just take a look at this. It's gonna look like this. That's gonna be your T pose right there. Okay, and when you export that, let's go back over here. You're gonna have to follow these the radio box. It would have been nice if they had something like this in the documentations, but they don't. So that's kind of really upsetting. But I figured it out, and so now I'm sharing it with you guys. So when you save this, you want to give it this name right here. Avatar Hulk. I just put Avatar so I know that it is Avatar. You could put just whatever your character is on Dirty Nut Job. I don't care. And then but you have to put geometry. So it's this format right here that you need to follow. Okay, if you don't put that, you're gonna get an error and you're gonna freak out and say, I can't see my character. So this is what it's gonna do. They try to make it really automated for you guys, but there's gonna be bugs. So you click on browse and you drill down, you look for your folder. All you got to do is click on your folder if you named it correctly. If you don't have geometry on there, it's going to say, I don't know where your geometry is. That's what it's all. It's trying to make it really simple. So open this and just hit OK, and then it brings it in. If it doesn't work, you're screwed. You didn't name it correctly. It's going to say there's no camera. That's bullshit. If you put a camera, there is a camera. Okay? So I put a camera. That's the camera right there. If you did what I did last time, put in the node, you're gonna get that error and it's gonna be disoriented. Your model is gonna be either on its back, on its head. I don't know. It's just all crazy. So we're back here again. Tells you that there's no camera. That's not true. It's gonna work. So now you click OK, and you're gonna get this. This is where it gets kind of weird, intimidating. What the hell is this all about, right? You realize, oh, okay, I gotta give it a shader name, shader template. So you go down to this menu and you look for it. Just go ahead and pick the default. You could do skin, no blend, normal. That seems to work pretty good. So let's do it all to that. No blend, normal, no blend, normal. No blended normal. This one is hair, so let's pick hair, and then you got your body again. Another thing I don't understand about this thing is I don't know where it's getting these things right here. But I know that it corresponds to this right there. This is actually the same as that. So this is body, this is body, this is eyes, but for some reason it doesn't pick that up. So I just said, hell with it, I'm just going to continue. So now it tells you what the source file is, tells you what the FaceRig texture needs. The funny thing is, once you, if you keep it, your name and structure, you could name it in a certain format. So my format, I'm gonna show you. This is what it was before. Now, once you do all this stuff, you have to let it find your files because it's gonna create duplicates of that. What I mean is, so let's say this is the body diffusion, so diffuse. So you want to go over here and you find it. It's right here, and you just click on it. I'm not gonna do it, but I'm just letting you know once you pick all the diffuse, the gloss, the normal, the specular. You do all that good stuff. It's gonna rename it as these right there. I didn't create this. It actually produced the same exact files and it wrote it over here. I don't know why it does that. It just does. The software requires it to be written a certain way, and it does it for you if you give it a similar type of file name. So anyway, that's the thing that's a kicker. All right, so now we're there. Um, this is where you put all the animation, all the frowns and stuff. But when you first start, you don't need to do all this stuff. Technically, you could just put the idle one, this one right here. So you want to go ahead and pick that, and that's it right there. And it's gonna go ahead and write all this stuff inside anim and general movement. I never wrote that kind of stuff, but it does it for you when you import. We're up to 21 minutes. Sorry, fellas, I don't mean to be this long, but this is a lot of information to get, and doing you guys a favor by doing all this so you don't have to go through this crap. Okay, so general movements, that's where you want to go. It's gonna write all these folders by itself. I didn't do it. All I did was give it the file name that it required inside that documentation that I showed you earlier, which is where the hell is it? Which is right here. So if you look at this doc, so right here, you go down, you're gonna see that avatar front back. So you want to read this. An avatar leans forward from the waist at frame 0, meaning at 0 it's already forward, and then goes through the idle pose at around 15. So it goes, like this. I would do this when I'm at. Let me move this out the way. When I'm in 0, I would make it go like that, and then when I get to, I'll do a keyframe. Then when I go to 15, I go like that, and then that's basically the idle pose, and then at the end 30 you just go back like that and you hit the keyframe. Now you got a nice little animation. That's what it's looking for basically. So remember that naming structure because you're gonna need that. All right. Okay, so we're back here. So now you pick all your goodness, blah blah blah, you do all that stuff, and then you're gonna hit import. If this doesn't break, everything's gonna go really cool. Let's just do it now, see what happens. So you hit it and it's gonna go through all the stuff. If it doesn't work, it's gonna stop. You're gonna see a dialog box that's gonna say exit, break, or continue. You could just continue and see what happens, but most of the time it's because it doesn't have the name that it requires. So hit this, and then let's go into FaceRig and see what happens. And yeah, whatever. You can say no. You can still be. So if there's cache information, it tells you right here. It's gonna create these cache, but cache is a weird file. It's gonna stay in memory, and if you don't clear it, you're gonna look at something and say, "Did I make any changes?" And you're gonna like pulling your hair until you realize, "Oh, I gotta go and make dump that cache on some other person," which would be that's a stupid ass joke. Anyway, so it takes a while, maybe around a minute or two, depending. Oh, there you go. See? So now I got all set up. Remember I told you about the camera? So I didn't do all the animation. That's why the Hulk is just going nutty with his mouth. That's all he's doing. But if you look at the idle, see the idle is there. It's doing what it's supposed to. Yeah. So if you guys don't believe that I'm actually controlling this with my face, I'm gonna show you guys what I look like. Just ignore the mess back there. I got my guitar. Hi, welcome to my humble abode. There you go. I got dots on my face. Anyway, so there you go, and that's how you do it. Um, you guys could thank me later because this was just jacked up the way it's documented. I don't think there's anybody to blame for the poor documentation. It's a good product. I have to say it's one of the better motion capture because I could just tell from the way it's tracking my face that is very, very stable. Even when there's light coming in through my window, it just picks it up with no problem. Anyway, I got the neck going. You just got to change the parameter. It's the eyeballs. I don't know. I can't see if my eyeballs are moving because I'm moving my eyes and I can't look at the screen at the same time. Anyway, that's enough for me. And I hope this video is was helpful for you, because I'm gonna tell you right now, this was not um, a fun thing to learn. I was expecting it to be a piece of cake, but it's a lot more, um, a lot of troubleshooting, and some logic needs to be put into the documentation a little bit more. Anyway, I'm gonna post this up on YouTube and then link it to the discussion forum. See you guys later. This is Julius. I'm out.